Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Much Ado About History, and today we're going to do an exercise in analyzing a document. Maybe a document that you're being exposed to on a test, maybe it's something that your social studies teacher or ELA teacher has given you, and I want to give you a few simple steps about how to do this. I think one mistake students make is when they're given an unfamiliar piece of text, they just dive right in to try to just read it right away, and they maybe end up making some easily avoidable mistakes. And so I think if you follow some of the steps I'm going to show you, it's going to help you understand these documents more, and your performance in class is going to improve. So when we analyze a document, we're going to use something that I call the outside-in method. And what I mean by that is don't just dive into the main text right away, because I feel like you're missing out on some clues that can be had before you try to really understand what this is about. So I would either say start at the top or bottom of the document. And what you're looking for are any clues that you can find. You're looking for context clues. All right? Context, the specific circumstances about an item or event. So when we start with this outside-in method, what we're looking for are things about, do we know where or when this was written, or where and when this event took place? That might kind of help us, sort some things out in our head. Do we know who was involved? Do we know if it's a document? Do we know who wrote it? What do we know about that person? Do we know their political beliefs? Do we know about their social impact? Did they hold office? Did they hold a position of leadership? That's going to be a clue before we start to actually read the document. What else was happening at the time? Do we know the date and the time and the place? And can we say, well, this was also going on in the country or also going on in the world? It'll help us kind of, set the scene. And what connections can we make? So we want to try to look for context, and that's why we're going to use this outside-in method. Okay, so you're starting at the top or the bottom, and these are some of the things you're going to look for. You're looking for a title or maybe a subtitle. So that's going to give you automatically, hopefully, a frame of reference. Can we find the author's name? Maybe it's someone that you know or you're familiar with, so that'll kind of put you at ease a little bit of, all right, I know a little bit about this person already, so this should help. Is there a date? That obviously is going to help you set the setting. The source, is this a personal diary? Was this a newspaper article? Is this from a published book? Okay. The location or the setting. Is it in a famous place, a famous city, a battle, or the location of some discovery that was made? Is there a photo or a caption? That's a good thing to look for. Again, it's just going to help you try to find more context in the document. Next, I would say check the margins. Okay, so now you're looking at the sides. Check the margins. Are there any notes there by the publishers or by the author to help you understand the text? Are there any definitions of maybe unfamiliar words that you're not sure about? And then finally, begin to read the main text. And my advice is, whenever you're going to read a text, I'd like you to have a highlighter and maybe a blue or black ink pen with you at all times, because when we read a document, we don't want to just leave it blank. We're going to mark it up. And today we're going to do that with the Mayflower Compact. Okay, so we've got our copy of the Mayflower Compact. And so we're going to start with this outside-in method. And so the first thing we're going to look at is the top, and we're going to look for the title, and you see, okay, Mayflower. Well, so let me tell you what I'm going to do here. When I've got a highlighter, anything important that I find, I'm going to highlight. And then if I have any questions or guesses, those are things I'm going to write down. So I see the word Mayflower, and that automatically makes me think of the Pilgrims. So okay, is this the Pilgrim ship? Because that's what the word Mayflower just makes me think of. Okay, and the answer to that is yes. Right, so this has to do with the Pilgrims coming over on the Mayflower. I noticed that we've also got a date. Okay, so we've got a date. We've got the year 1620, and that is the year that the Pilgrims made their journey from England to the New World. We've also got this word here, compact. And that's something you might not be familiar with, the Mayflower Compact. So what does that mean? So the word compact means something similar to a contract. or you can just think of it as an agreement. Okay? So this is a contract or an agreement signed on the Mayflower, on the Pilgrim ship in the year 1620. If we go down to the bottom of the document, before we get into the main text, again, I'm looking for some more clues. So again, I see the year 1620, which we already know, but even more specifically, we see an actual date, the 11th of November. So now we've got not only the year that this was written, we've also got the date. Okay, and I don't see anything else here at the bottom that can give me any clues, and there's really nothing in the margins. So now I'm going to go back up to the top, and now we're going to go to the main text of the document. Okay, so let's begin. It begins, "In the name of God, amen." So to me, this is almost like, that seems like how like a prayer might start. And so I think this gives us another clue, if you didn't know already, that the Pilgrims were pretty religious people. For them to begin a document by mentioning God first of all, right? They're pretty religious people. Okay, let's continue. "We, whose names are underwritten." So, which that means is that they signed the document. "The loyal subjects of our dread sovereign Lord King James, by the grace of God and of Great Britain, France, and Ireland, King, Defender of the Faith," etc. Okay, so I find this interesting because some people, when they think of the Mayflower Compact and the Pilgrims leaving England to come to the New World, they assume that this is some sort of Declaration of Independence 150 years before the Declaration of Independence. And we can see that it is clearly not. They use the words loyal subjects. So one of the first things they tell us is they are not breaking away from the king. They are loyal subjects of the king. And we know the king's name. King James of England, and then this is all just his fancy title. He was King of England. He also claimed part of France. He controlled part of Ireland. Kings of England were all called Defender of the Faith back then because they were all Christian kings. So they're letting us know who they are, and they're also letting us know that they are loyal subjects of the king. Now let's get to the middle paragraph. "Having undertaken, for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith and honor of our king and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia." Okay, I'm going to stop right there. So, having undertaken, this means, why did they do it? Why did they take this journey? And they tell us right away. They took this journey from England to the New World on the Mayflower for the glory of God, to advance or to spread their Christian faith, and to honor our king and country. So again, they're saying they're not breaking away from the king. They're doing this to honor their king and even to honor England. And they took a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia. So the Plymouth colony, which the Pilgrims began, this was not the first English colony in America. The Jamestown colony had been already successfully planted south of them in Virginia. And so they're saying this is the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia. They actually missed their mark. They were aiming to go a little bit further south. They were actually aiming for what is now New York City, but they could not get there, and so they landed in what today is Massachusetts. Okay, back to the document. "They do by these presents," that just means this document, "solemnly and mutually." That means that they're serious and that they're in this together in the presence of God. They mention God again, so you know that they're, again, a very religious people. "And one another, covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic." What this means is they're forming a government. So they already made it clear that they are not breaking away. They're not declaring independence. They are loyal subjects of the king, but the king and his entire government are 2,000 miles away. So on the ground in their colony, they're going to need to make some decisions. So they agree that together they are going to form a political body. They're going to form a government. Why? Then they're going to tell us. For our better ordering and preservation, right? So just like law and order and to keep ourselves alive. The furtherance of the ends aforesaid, so to honor God and honor king and country. And by virtue hereof, to, now this is what their government is going to do, enact, constitute, and frame such just and equal laws, ordinances, acts, constitutions, and offices from time to time as shall be thought most meet and convenient for the general good of the colony. Okay, I'm going to highlight that. The general good of the colony. So, from time to time, even though we're loyal to the king and we're going to listen to the king, we might have to make some laws or some ordinances or make up new offices like governor or mayor or things like that just to keep the colony in good order. To which we promise all due submission and obedience. So they're going to respect the king, but they're also, by signing this, they all agree we're in this together and we will follow whatever laws we create and whoever our elected officials are. And then at the bottom, again, this is a very short document, they're going to sign off. In witness whereof we have hereunto subscribed our names. So, signature. Every male adult member who could sign his name was basically made to sign this document before they got off the Mayflower, so that they all knew going into it what they were all agreeing to and what they were going to live by. So they've all signed it, and we know the location at Cape Cod. So that's the little peninsula of Massachusetts that sticks out into the ocean. We know the date, the 11th of November. And then, again, they're going to mention the king, and they're doing him honor by mentioning how long he's been the king. In the year of the reign of our sovereign Lord, King James of England, France, and Ireland, he's been king of those places for 18 years, and of Scotland, the 54th. He's been king of Scotland for 54 years, the year 1620. Okay, so using this outside-in method, this is what I want a document to look like. This is what I really feel like after a student's given a document, this is how it should look. It should be highlighted. We should have notes written. We should have questions. We should have guesses. And that's how we kind of use this method and use the Mayflower Compact as a demonstration. So hopefully, if I or any of your teachers give you anything like this, you're ready to answer any questions that come your way. So until next time, we'll see you on Much Ado About History. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.